is telling the truth to a certain degree when he says that George Soros is at the top of the pyramid, but only over an enclave of socialist and communist, because, you know, the big mega banks want to steal the middle class wealth to give it to the bankers. They always hire a crew of lazy, ignorant, intellectual lightweights, to basically be their vanguard. But Soros on the power structure, I don't even consider him to be at the top of the pyramid where the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Queen of England, Dutch royal family are. They promote all the same policies. So there does seem to be somewhat of a throwing Soros under the bus here.
Well, certainly Fox and Glenn Beck are in that direction already. And they're probably waiting to see what that you have to say. And we just told people the truth about Mr. Soros, and if the ADL doesn't like that, well, that's just too darn bad. And maybe Mr. Beck didn't even know of that part of Mr. Soros's background.
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, how do you know it all? It's an endless file.
Well, in all of the financing that he did through his organizations throughout Europe, particularly Eastern Europe, causing those colored revolutions, all of which have been thrown asunder. All they did was bankrupt most of the countries that experienced those electoral revolutions, we'll call them. And this guy is bad news, and he also wants to legalize marijuana. And everybody has their own idea on that, but it's something I should throw in because he's been a long-time advocate of that.
Well, his main reason for it is that's just some liberal cover he has. And I don't listen to Howard Stern a lot, but I scan around through XM. And I was driving home last night, and they were re-airing it because he's on, I think, XM 100, or is it Sirius 100? I guess I have Sirius in my car. Same company. But the point is, Sirius and XM are merged, 3 years ago. But I listened to Stern for like 30 minutes talk about how he got Glenn Beck's books, his materials, he's studying it. And it was the first time I've ever heard Howard Stern, and I probably listened hundreds of times over the years because I've been on radio stations he's on, like 98.9 back when it was talk. He was on there in the morning, and I was on at night. And I've never heard him actually get serious. And he was talking about world government, new world order, who's at the top of the pyramid, that it's scary. And then he said, well, I did my own research like Beck said, and the first thing I saw was that Soros has given $7 billion to charity. Well, that's like Bill and Melinda Gates giving with Warren Buffett over $100 billion. They put it, this is on record, in a tax-free foundation. Then none of their operations are taxable. They keep most of the money and give some of it for horrible programs. And Soros calls philanthropy having Media Matters and all these other outfits demonizing the Second Amendment, demonizing people that want sovereignty or to control our borders, demonizing people who are against the Federal Reserve, helping overthrow countries. That's and one thing Beck says is true. We've talked about it for years. Soros is on record always trying to kill the dollar. I've seen him on Lair NewsHour a decade ago doing it. Soros is on record going in and bragging. He's been convicted of it for setting up currency implosions and making tens of billions at a pop. So, I mean, for the ADL and all these other groups to say he's some little angel cake, I mean, he is a complete fraud and a joke, Bob. But I'm ranting about this now. It's just that, look, if we get Howard Stern, he's probably got 10 million listeners overall, to start attacking the New World Order, the globalists are in a lot of trouble. I mean, because of all of the people that listen to Stern, if they start hearing serious information. I mean, my point is, first Stern covered the naked body scanners in one of our news articles. I forgot that part. He read our headline. He didn't plug InfoWars or Prison Planet. I don't care. He's obviously on Drudge. And then he went into 30 minutes about Glenn Beck and world government. But the problem is Soros is not the top of it. So that's my problem with Beck is he's only telling people about one person in the strata. Bob, what's your take on what I just said, and where do you see in the pyramid of power, where do you see George Soros?
Well, first of all, he's not in the middle. I think he's closer to the top. I would say in the top 10%. Because he's a decision maker. He's been given the opportunity to have billions and billions of dollars, and he's instructed what he's supposed to do with it. He doesn't make those decisions himself. They have committees that do that. They're working 24/7 worldwide in these think tanks, and they've been doing it for years. He's just a dummy. When he dies, all the money will go back to the alumnus, and they'll continue, and they'll use some other stooge to do it in the likes of Kissinger.
Let me just back you up. It came out in the church hearings and others that that's exactly what happens, and that's what's happening with Bill and Melinda Gates. They had all those antitrust things slapped on them until they gave the money to eugenics. Please continue.
Right. So, let's get a hold of Glenn and tell him, look, and now that you've started this and you're trying to work your way up the pyramid, let us give you a little help. These are the people who are doing it. This is why they're doing it. And I don't think your boss is going to like it. But if you run this stuff, it'll be unbelievably good because others will pick it up, like Howard Stern. And maybe he'll do some more research. And this is how these things work. They feed on themselves. A lot of the people out there who are opportunists and who don't really care sometimes have a change of heart. And they start to care and say, gee, how did I ever overlook this? This is dreadful. Let's do something about it.
Absolutely. I want to play this Glenn Beck clip since we've been talking about it. It's about 2 minutes long. Here it is.
Why does the left need this violence? Well, listen to a clip from a Democratic pollster, Mark Penn, happened just the other day, and yet no one pays attention to it. How can the left win the country? Watch.
Cabinets don't really sell things. The president himself has to reconnect with the people. Remember, President Clinton reconnected through Oklahoma, right? And the president right now, he seems removed. And it wasn't until that speech that he clicked with the American public. Obama needs a similar kind.
You think words will work for? Obama needs a similar kind of event. Oh, well, like Oklahoma City. If only Barack Obama could have the opportunity to speak to America after another Oklahoma City type event, then he'll politically be in good shape. Wow. Now, according to Drummond Pike, the founder of Tides, who, Drummond, I hope you watch this week because, it's all coming undone this week. I will be the guy who causes the next Oklahoma City. This is in a letter, an appeal to advertisers of Fox, dear Fox advertisers, read this part of it. No one, left, right, center, wants to see another Oklahoma City. The next assassin may succeed. If so, there will be blood on many hands. They are setting up another Oklahoma City. They are claiming that one is coming, and they've already marked the one who caused it. But don't you miss Wednesday's show when I show you violence and the pressure from below. It will boggle your mind.
So there you have it. He's talking about Soros, are setting up in Oklahoma City. And there's actually some truth to that. We know from the FBI memos that people sued lawyer Jesse Ventura because they killed his brother and got him. He got one declassified and another. They blacked him out, but when he got the 2 copies of the same document, different areas blacked out, 2 different courts, he had the whole document. Southern Poverty Law Center, key to all of this, running Elohim City and McVeigh. In a way there is a connection there, but they wouldn't have green-lighted an attack like that if the Pentagon and the FBI and others weren't going to go along with it. But notice it was another liberal administration who likes to blame domestics, where Republicans like the boogeymen of Arabs and Muslims so they could have foreign empire. Democrats like to attack in the homeland because they have a serious hatred of liberty and the American people. Bob Chapman.
Well, I'll tell you something. That's a brilliant take. And I'm not shining you on. That is just terrific. And that's exactly what they do. And that's what the CIA is all about, in part as well. And there's no question in any person who's done any investigation about who did Oklahoma City in 9/11. They were events. And there's been a lot of others. This recent thing that we watched here in the Gulf of Mexico with the oil, it's the same thing. And they keep on doing it. And so, obviously, the Democrats are working on, or at least the people in the White House, are working on some kind of event to make everybody like the president. So maybe he can be around, and maybe the Democrats can gain some ground back.
And people ask, why would they brag out in the open? Because most people in the system aren't involved in it. They've got to put the talking point out, so all their people rush on TV when Obama's people blow up a federal building or a school and put the talking point out that Obama, he saved you. He stood up for you.
That's exactly right. And that's the path that they follow. And so we can expect they're gonna try something. Where and when, I certainly don't know, and you don't. But they're gonna try something because they just told us. It's just like raiding foreign affairs. The House organ, literary organ of the Council on Foreign Relations. They tell you what they're gonna do right in there.
That's how we've known.
Read it.
That's how you've known for 50 years fighting. That's how I've known for 15 fighting. They said how they get rid of the borders. They talked about the global currency. We'd come warn people, get laughed at. All we're doing is reading. It's like they go on TV and say, we need terror attacks, to blame it on Glenn Beck. I mean, and then you read the actual reports. They say, yours truly, Bob. It's two people, Glenn Beck and Alex Jones. And I mean, this is dangerous.
Well, they have to have the stooges, but it's not going to stick because both of you, generally speaking, are very well accepted by the public. And, there's always people who don't agree, and that's fine. But they figure they can get away by doing that. It's not going to stick.
Bob, I want to come back. I want to come back and finish up with you for about 3 minutes on this and give folks the place where they can get the internationalforecaster.com, a free copy. So grab that number because Bob never even thinks to plug it. So I want to make him take out the numbers so you can call and get a free one. Then we got Michael Braverman with Jesse Ventura's TV show. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange Home Gain Gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have. You'll love this site. It's HomeGain.com. HomeGain.com. Check them out today.
Alex told you the government announced recently that the recession is over. It ended on June of 2009. The millions of Americans unable to find work might not agree. Perhaps the recession ended for the bankers and government employees, but for the rest of us, things seem to be getting worse. Gold and silver haven't heard the news either. They've begun their long-expected journey to the moon. In addition to converting your shrinking dollars into gold and silver, you should consider a food savings account from eFoods Direct. They both make fabulous investments. Food is our greatest dependency, and we know it will be more precious than any financial resource. You and your family need food to survive a crisis, and you can't eat paper, stocks, or metals. Alex has been urging you to invest in delicious, easy-fix meals to enjoy now or save for long-term. This will freeze the cost of your food while you can still afford it. Visit eFoodsDirect.com on the internet or call 800-409-5633. That's eFoodsDirect.com or 800-409-5633.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing